Hello, my lovely. You didn't get to where you are in your business by doing shit the way that everybody else does. And you know that what got you to where you are now is not going to get you to where you want to be. And if you are listening to this podcast, it's because you want to be the go to for what you do better than anyone else. Your brilliance is the niche. Being you, that bold, unfuckwithable presence that you've secretly been craving to set free, she is in there. And that means you will have to burn some old bridges down. And attracting your people will also repel those who are not for you. Fucking hooray. Becoming a force of nature business and brand means no more Miss People Pleaser, no more hiding your turbo brain, no more dimming down jack shit. And if you have ever been told to tone it down as a woman with ADHD, it's time to tone your shit all the way the fuck back up. That is how you create unstoppable momentum in your business and visibility that is something you've been avoiding, but that you truly want. This podcast is about stepping into your upgrade, watering down anything, never change the fucking world. You were not born to be forgettable. And as one of my all-time favorite quotes says, well-behaved women rarely make history, and nothing about you or me is well-behaved, at least not anymore. Over 6 weeks, I am sharing my new Anti-Framework Business Scaling Playbook. It's been created for you, my favorite feral as fuck ADHD women who are coaches or online service providers. If you aren't those, there are a lot of things in here, a lot of theories, a lot of information in here that will apply in some ways. So there are going to be things that don't apply at all. If you are a brick and mortar or you are a product-based business, there are a lot of things in here that are underlying that you can apply to your business as well. So the next thing I want you to know is that this is week 3. If you haven't heard week 1 or 2, please go back and start at episode 1 of this series because they are compounding upon each other. And so I highly encourage you to listen to them in order. But I know sometimes we're rebellious and you may not do that. So that's fine, but I do highly recommend it. On March 6, 2023, at 49 years old, and having been a business owner since I was 24, I was diagnosed with ADHD while running this business. And I've been in the online arena since 2019, but I really decided to go all in on business mentorship and coaching in 2021 because I had previous business experience of owning other businesses, not a coaching business, but I owned a real estate business and a fitness business. I had 6-figure businesses that I burned to the fucking ground because my ADHD was raging. I had no idea I had it. And I hit essentially a burned out and burned them down. Then I started this business and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get it to where I wanted to be, why I kept feeling like I was burning out, all of those things. And then blammo, ADHD diagnosis. Fucking hooray, because that clarified a lot for me. I'm going to share the process with you of how I found my signature method because I would have told you that was a joke when other business owners said they had a signature method. I was like, how is that even a thing? But what I now realize is my signature method truly is based on what I know ADHD women in business need the most because of the fact that our brains are wired differently. And the things that I share here, the things that I am putting into this signature method, which is going to become a program, and it's also going to become part of the Neurospicy Sisterhood, and it's a curriculum that people can pick and choose the pieces that they're going to need and get, one-on-one support with that in the group calls, direct support on my eyeballs onto their business. These are also the things that I know lead to more self-trust. That's one of the things we have to have in our business is self-trust. We need to have support. We need to have guardrails and accountability, but we also need trust in ourselves. And some of the things I'm sharing with you also help increase your self-esteem inside of your business and out. Because after a lifetime of lacking self-trust and having really low self-esteem because we thought we were somehow less than, or our ADHD traits were taken as personality pieces, and we were looked at or spoken to in a way where we were less than or need to tone it down, all that stuff. So that shit changes now. So from one force of nature to another, turn the volume up to an 11 and let's get feral. Welcome back to the ADHD Entrepreneur, the podcast for feral as fuck ADHD women in business who refuse to play by the fucking rules. If that's you, welcome. My name is Carrie. I'm your host. I'm the head bitch in charge around here on the podcast. I'm also the chief weirdo of my brand, Carrie Out Loud. I'm so glad you found the podcast. If this episode has an impact on you or you learned something that you didn't realize you needed to know, if you could do me a quick favor, subscribe, turn on the notification so you can be reminded to come back every week. The Lord knows we love a good notification. And leave a 5-star review with a couple of sentences with something that you really needed to hear. And what that does is it helps push this out to other women like you who really need to find the podcast the way that you did. Usually I do different topics and each episode is in and of itself and it has a couple of different things within it because our brains get bored easily. And so I like to kind of keep it fun. But this is the series of 6 and I've never done this before. So it's really exciting. But this is really to go over the handful of things I know that ADHD women need the most that, like I've said, are becoming part of that signature program. So let's talk to your feral funhouse of a brain and get into it. This time, we are going to be talking about my favorite thing in the world, simplification when it comes to business. So one of the things is if you are constantly feeling like you're running 47 businesses inside of your single business, which can happen to a lot of us. Some of us are multi-passionate. We like to have different, facets and areas to our business and what we do. The one thing that I highly encourage you to do is to simplify because you don't want to burn out and you don't want to self-destruct and you don't want to feel like everything you're doing, nothing that you're doing is landing. Nothing that you're doing is speaking to your fuck yes client. Like we talked about, in the branding in last week, how you want to clearly speak to your person based on their energy, all of that stuff, right? So another thing that really helps with that is simplification. So one of the things that I've heard over and over and over in the last couple of years of working strictly with ADHD women is, I just want to simplify. I wish this was more simple. I just want a more simple way to do that. The word simple has come up time and time again. My little ears went ding, 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 ding. Okay, women want simplification. ADHD women, ADHD brains, when it comes to running our business specifically, even though we're multi-passionate, even though we love a lot of different things, we also crave simplicity, right? So complexity is actually a drain of our dopamine. It is something that can really lead to burnout and it does leak money. This will kill revenue. That is why part of the reason why you're here is to earn a living, right? Yes, we are definitely here to make an impact. That is probably the primary reason for most of us why we start a business. We also want that freedom, but income, revenue, having a successful business is a goal. Clearly, or you wouldn't just be, we're not just doing this for funsies, but we are doing it because it is fun to us. We love it. And we love what this type of thing can offer us in our lives. But I want you to understand ADHD brains do need some clear lanes. If we have too many tabs open at one time and we don't know where the music is coming from on that one tab, we can't find it. It feels chaotic. I'm talking brain tabs. If you have 47 tabs open on your computer screen like I do right now, you're good to go. But I'm talking about the ones that live inside of your head. Systems, messaging, and content, when you have the clearest, cleanest path, it speaks directly to your fuck yes, dreamy client. If you have systems that give them the best care that it possibly can and systems that work for your brain, if you have messaging that speaks directly to them in your language and your vernacular, which you'll hear more about in the previous episode, if you have content that is dripping and oozing with your energy and your words, and you have a clear feel to your business, that is simplification, my friend. That is simplification. When you take care of your people, there is a hidden growth weapon that I don't hear people talk about at all, which is so fucking weird to me. Referrals. You want to beat the algorithm? You want to not have to worry about that shit? Take care of your people. Take care of them in the best way you can. I don't mean over deliver and give, the shirt off your back until you're bleeding and be accessible through 24/7, 365. The very last episode of this series is going to be about boundaries, where I'm going to talk about how you are not here to fucking do that. But what I mean is deliver to your clients from a place of overflow, not where you're depleted until you're giving your last drops of blood here. Okay. Taking care of your humans grows your business. You get referrals. How do I know? My first year of business, my very first business, which was real estate, 6-figure, built it from the ground up. First year, I busted my balls. I mean, balls to the wall in every way, shape, or form. Sold 20 houses my first year. National average is 2. The next year, I was at about 80% referrals. I didn't have to do a lot of the things that I did in that first year, because in the second year, it became more simple. My clients who I'd had before, some of them, because of the way the market was at that time, came back to me, sold their house and bought a new one. And they sent their cousin, their aunt, and their friend, and. I was never hungry for business. Why? Because I took great care of them. That is one massive way to simplify your business. Take the best care of the clients who are already there. Have gratitude for the ones who are already there. Give everything you can to the ones who are already there. You will have referrals coming out your ass. And you will see exponential growth in your business. That has nothing to do with content that you're putting out there or anything else like that. It is word of mouth. I know many coaches who are so fucking great at what they do. They don't need a big following. They don't need a lot of engagement, because they have people in their DMs all the time. Because one of their business sisters works with them and has told every other business sister they have, you have to go follow this person. You have to, take this program. You have to buy this. You have to, get into their program. This is what she did for me. This is where we went. That is powerful. And it comes with a borrowed trust. They already come in with some inherent trust, because they've seen the results their friend is having. They don't even need their friend to tell them. Their friend will be like, how are you upgrading your business like this? They'll be like, so and so. They'll be like, I need to follow so and so. Can you give me the link to follow so and so? Right? That's a hidden growth strategy not many people are talking about. So taking care of your people leads to those referrals. Let's talk about another part of simplification: your systems. Simplifying your systems. What does your back-end system structure look like? Mine was an absolute shit show. It was like something where, how you have that closet in your house? It's like full of all the shit you don't want people to see, and you're like leaning against it, trying to keep it fucking closed because you don't want to look at what's in there. Oftentimes, when you have ADHD, especially if you've been around for a couple of years, you haven't really given any thought to your systems. You've just been doing what you've been doing because it's become comfortable to you. And I will tell you, I have fellow business owners who are my business sisters, who have 7-figure businesses, who did not have any systems until they had a 7-figure business. They were doing it all themselves. And they were like, why am I so tired? And it's like, yeah, because you're doing everything yourself. I am not saying to outsource everything either. But if you have systems behind the scene that you have put in place, which you can have done with a contractor, somebody who does a one-time project for you to get that set up so that you can maintain it with ease. You have, I hate the word funnels, but I'm going to use it here because it's basically a door for people to get to know you And it also does some selling behind the scenes for you, because even though we know we're getting emails that are automated, when you get an email that from me that's automated and you hit reply, Carrie is the one answering that. You are talking to me. So even though I have certain things that go out in a series to you, say if you opt into my Feral CEO's business audit, for example, you're going to get a series of 3 emails with videos with my cute little face on it. I didn't send those out. They were set up one time and off they went. And then the 4th one is going to have some sort of way, if you want to continue with me, to continue with me. And most people want to know what the next fucking step is if they like you, if they're interested in you helping them with their business, right? That is not cold or insensitive. That is smart business, because you're here to run a business. You're not running a charity. You're not running a nonprofit. If you are running a nonprofit, I am not talking to you. It is very different, but you're in this to create a life and a living and impact. Having systems behind the scenes. I have talked about this in other episodes, but I'm going to break it down for you, sister. I was doing so much manually. Nothing was talking to each other. I had no free resources that really spoke to my ideal clients over the last 6 or 7 months. Actually, I would say it's longer now. November, October, somewhere around there. I really started saying, okay, I got to simplify some shit. I want to put in some, different ways for people to get to know me. I wanted to do videos, not a PDF, because anybody can Google that shit. I want them to know my personality, my vibe. That goes back to the whole brand section that we talked about on episode 2 of this series. And I just started putting that together. And then I started putting systems in the back end in place for onboarding clients to, like, the Neurospicy Sisterhood, where I wasn't going into Kajabi and doing certain things manually. It was happening upon purchase. It was like an automation, so that there was a welcome. They understood where they needed to go. There's a welcome video that's going to be going inside of the sisterhood as well, so that when anybody comes in who is new, they know where their shit is because I have an on-demand library. And the program that I'm speaking about here, my signature program, is part of that sisterhood as well. So I want them to be introduced to where everything is. And I want to get to make sure they know where they are going and when the meeting times are, all of those things, right? That just simplifies shit for me. And on top of that, it's a red carpet experience for the client, because they're not confused. They know exactly what their next steps are, right? You are doing them a service by doing that for them. You are also doing yourself a service. So having different systems put together gave me what people jokingly call a dream week, a dream schedule, a dream day. You know how people like visualize your dream day, visualize your dream schedule. Not to make fun of that, because I now live it. I have 3 client-facing days. I have a CEO day. I have a bonus day. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, client-facing days. Monday is my CEO day. When I record the podcast, write the love note, do certain things that I'm the one who does it because it's what I want to do. And then on Fridays, if I want to be creative or think of new programs or whatever, I do that. But my laptop is closed by 1 p.m. My schedule was 24/7, 365 before that. And I mean, I literally felt like a slave to my business. I love my business. So it's very easy for me to do that. But on the flip side, that is how we burn out if we do not build in rest. Potato days. Have a day where if everything's feeling like a shit show and you don't have any more client work to do that day, you push the stop button and you go get a fucking snack, take a nap, and come back to that shit in the morning. There have been so many times in my business where I was overcomplicating things, and all I needed to do was just take a breath and get up the next morning. And I had 5 different solutions to this thing that I could not for the life of me figure out, because either I was tired, or like I said, I needed a snack, or I needed some fucking sunshine. Simplifying your business means also building rest into your business plan. That's part of simplifying it. If you don't have any room in your brain to have some downtime, your best ideas are not going to have anywhere to incubate. So simplifying the the systems in your business is so important. And if you don't know how to do it yourself, like I said, you can hire a service provider who can simplify certain things and give you Loom videos or a video that walks you through the process that they went through so that you're not spending 5 or 6 or 7 days wasting your time on $5 things that you should not be focusing on anymore at this point in your business. You've been around a while. There are certain things you don't have to be doing anymore that you can mostly automate. And sometimes, if you want to, delegate. Please do yourself that favor, because that is actually how you open up the door to having more revenue in your business and more sales. Let's talk about simplifying your content. My favorite simplification of content is theme weeks. Theme weeks. So for this program, there's 5 different things that are part of what I know humans with ADHD need to simplify their business. I could rotate those every 5 weeks. I could have in order, right? Day 1, cult brand. Week 1, cult brand. Week 2, simplification. Week 3, your offers. Week 4, authority. Week 5, boundaries. And then go in that circle again. I can have all of my content that I plan or that I put together or that I know I want to put out there. I can do that for everything, for the podcast, for my newsletters, for Substack, etc. We have trouble changing context as people with ADHD, so sometimes having a theme week works really well for some. Others, not their jam, but it is definitely one that more of my clients than not have been like, damn, that is a great idea. It makes your content creation lighter. It makes your concepts of what you want to do that week easier. And if you have that and then something kind of on the fly comes, you still throw that in there. But at least you have the main theme of what you're doing for that week. And that creates repetition. One of the things we need to do in our business, but is hard for us because we need those constant dopamine hits. And when it comes to offers, which will be next week, I'm going to talk about how to create offers and create a way of doing business that creates sustainable recurring revenue and also plays with your dopamine and gives you those dopamine hits. So that'll be next week. But this simplifies sales because your clients or the people watching you, your fuck yes, diehard people who are watching your stories, watching your content, they're seeing similar themes over and over and over and over again. Think different. That's your brand, right? Just like I was talking about Apple, think different. That's their umbrella, but underneath it is this and this and this and that and the other. The iMac, the iPhone, the iPad, the music, etc. Right? The what underneath the umbrella. So using that overarching messaging and then speaking to those different things that you love getting paid for, that you give the best transformations to your clients, that you do that gives the best transformation to your clients, that lights you the fuck up. Keep talking about those things on rotation. That keeps you away from being bored. That lightens things up and makes these concepts much easier for your brain to hang on to for the week. It makes everything feel lighter. It makes your schedule feel less burdened down. And simplification in this way is going to lead you to sales. Just by the nature of it, it's going to lead you to sales that feel so much more simple. And so many have this huge, complex sales process. The sales process that I teach is so simple. It's almost like, wait, it's that simple? Yes, it gets to be more simple. It doesn't have to be over explaining and justifying your pricing and all of those things. It gets to be more simple. So when you simplify shit like that, the way I think of our brains with ADHD is like a plate. We tend to go to the buffet, have everything in this big mound on our plate, and shit's falling off left and right. And we're like, why does shit keep falling off? It's like, because you keep piling on the beef stroganoff, bitches, right? It's like, there's no room. There's no room, right? And I'm not saying we're not going to always have busyness happening in our brain, but when it comes to that plate that holds our business, when you have things that are more simplified or lighter or easier, you're not dropping balls as easily as if you are feeling like it's cluttered, right? That natural simplification is going to lead you to more clients who want to come into your ecosystem, who want to do business with you. And not only that, they want to stay because the results are there and they are happening for them. And like I said, back to the referrals, they're telling their whole business sisterhood about you. That also simplifies your sales. So, really thinking about simplifying your systems, your messaging, and your content overall just means choosing the clearest path to get to where you want to go. And making sure that because we have novelty-based brains, you have all of these pieces that still give you those dopamine hits because of the novelty. And when it comes to your offers, next week, I'm going to teach next week's episode. I'm going to talk about that, and it's really fun. You're going to love it. So definitely be sure to come back next week for that. And before I go here, I'm going to give you a couple of things to send you away with, like I've been doing over these last few episodes. The first thing is I want you to audit. Where are you overcomplicating things in your systems and or your messaging? Where are you adding too much, being too complex or being too complicated? Because the problem is we are so fucking smart. We have so much to offer. We have so many different things we want to tell people and share with them. That all happens on the back end of when you work with people. That brilliance is going to shine when it comes to drawing in and like a tractor beam, those people who are supposed to find you. Having those things being way overly complicated is not going to talk to your fuck yes, dreamy clients, baby. So I want you to take a look and think, where am I overcomplicating things? Where am I over delivering? And that's something we'll get to when I talk about boundaries. Take a look at your systems, take a look at your messaging and think to yourself, where am I doing too much here? We're wordy. We love words. Where are you overwording people to death? Where are you overcomplicating your systems? Next thing I want you to do after you've done that audit is to simplify a couple things. One system, whether it's onboarding, normally you send an email, put together a intake form where they can give you all the information in one place about their business. Great way to onboard people. Look at your offers. What offer can you simplify? I'm not saying under-deliver or stop being who you are. I'm saying stop giving away the fucking farm 24/7, 365. How can you simplify it? Because that's part of scaling, which we're going to talk about next week. And one of your messages, the one of the themes or things that you talk about repeatedly about your business. How can you simplify that? And then try a theme week. Just try it out. Try it out. So you're not overcomplicating your content. And one of the ways you can do this is repurpose across everything. So let's say I have this podcast episode and we're talking about simplification. My entire week, I can have all my content be around simplification. There are so many themes under simplification. I have content for days, right? I then make my newsletter about simplification. I take my newsletter and repurpose it to Substack about simplification. Or if you're on LinkedIn, you could create it on LinkedIn for simplification. Then you do a reels about simplification. You do carousels about do you see where I'm going here? Because not everybody in your ecosystem is getting every single one of those things. Not everyone you know is reading your email. Not everyone you know is seeing every piece of content. Not everyone in your ecosystem is seeing all your shit. So when you are putting it in different places, it all leads back to you. You're the brand. You're the one they want to see if they want to work with, or they need help from, or they want to do an intensive with, right? So play with theme week. It's super fun. See how you can simplify it by taking one thing and utilizing it across the board, by fleshing it out in some places, simplifying it in others, making content, etc. And content is everything. Content is anything you put out there: newsletters, podcasts, pieces of content that are reels, all steady, static posts, anything. That's all considered content. So how do you simplify it? Try it this week. Let me know if you liked it. Let me know if it worked for you. Tell me to go fuck off if you hated it. But my whole goal here is to give you different ways to try different things to make it more simple on you, so that you can do more of the things you love, which is work with your people or do the thing you love getting paid for. That's what it's all about, hokey pokey. Okay? With that, I'm going to end today's episode. If you love this episode, please send it to your friend, one of your business sisters, subscribe to the podcast, send me a note, send me a note by carrier pigeon. Tell me what you love, drop in my DMs. We're all just people here. Just because I have a microphone in front of my face doesn't make me any more or less than you. We are just all business owners. And I love connecting. I'm a connection queen, and I love hearing from the people who listen. So until next week, I see you, I love you, and I'm rooting for you always. So stay feral. Bye. Oh, hey, you're still here. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the ways to follow me. And of course, my goal is to find and help as many women with ADHD get away from the 9-to-5 grind, because it's just not designed for our neurospicy brilliance, and there are other ways to do life. So by subscribing, sharing, and giving a 5-star review, it helps other women find this podcast as well. And if there's an episode you really love, please feel free to take a screenshot and share it on your social and tag me in it so that I can thank you personally. Until next time, you spicy brained unicorn. Bye.